Awie ye kwaya ya ba ebra so se ye hyase edi nkomo na ansa na no maame fasa ho kwan yi emfa entirinkwa ema Joseph Boachi Dankwa efre no JB Dankwa ana se JB Mona mi social club no wono ana ye financial secretary enra was his day enti enra ye gie ni kakra fine ewo Mona mi enti JB ano pay yenyina yama ontirinkwa belated one of course said ya che no koso ayesa said ya otumi ye magic na obi twam kra otumi friend manage na no friend o munyina nyina saa da bia saa na baya na so na mkire no enti JB ano pay akora bebi a wobi ano ma ontirinkwa pa nanso ye betua so senia be kana nen na mefa sa ho kwan so mfa ma sofo da pa amene obada na no so no ofase da fam na esie no ewo La Paz enti sofo da pa bebi a wobi ano me ma o shedding papa ana fe Mr. Koto ono so ne nua bema da fam ono so wosi ne nne aye na yai bibia ewo odoko police park no so enti Mr. Koto da bebi a wobi ano pay me ma wachi ma shedding papa sabro krona so no ofase baako me se mo ofase me nua kuma ma me nka ne se fe na adu o Connecticut USA ono so ene na oda na adu bebi a obi a otirinkwa you know me do pe wasem pa kwatenti na mabisa dia ma wabre bia wo do yere se me nka nche se wo do sa na baba no se me nka nche se you are o mame ene onua no nyina na adu omo se omo ma wontirinkwa pa ti wa wodi to America na wo but still na no may bibi kakra dia sene o as senior bro what you say ti na adu bebi a obi ano mame emfasa ho kwan ma wo etiri enkwa mu etiri nkwa pa awie ye be hya se di nkoma ne sana ena no pai abejafo a me no be di nkomo se me di kankan ye no enen nsema ye beka no efa Supreme Court mame tokonu oye press conference na wotwe mu no ema okansama hodo bi efa processes na se court no ana committee etiye no nia yeka ne processes ne si ko no okansama do bebre emekopue mu kra se osi soja independent bi ayekun no na okobo edu lodge bebi a yes a committee ne nadwuma no oye hweso bi fa ho se sa edu lodge ho no ena pobo no mbo po wo ho nti wo no mbo po no ena mu etumi di kum ni wo fa soja ni no ena nsama do bebre na se do sika no amafo nso ahyase doso bi sansama ho do bebre o kan bibi di fa venue no o se venue na nkasa no baby a wo mo de akwa etete no ayese ne a wo mo de ehunehuna no ehu nti no ya na se de aye no wo mo de aka na hye na ye bebisa se sa eho no eho tesen nkasa pa mampeni na do dan kwakufu ado na breso na sa baby a ye ka ho asemi no okọ commission ye na bro commission ye no ensemu a okan ye de fa biaye a ene committee no ti eye o madwuma no emfaso a ebeba saa niam ahudo betumi aye ewo saa edu lodge ho no ye betie dia mampeni na do dan kwakufu ado kan ye ebra na o commission that edu lodge no ye bedi hu commission say ayasemu ya ne hwe se bebia ye mame chief justice kan se ye de na koi no yampane ampa se ho ne ye bebia ehu a kan ne sha na bedi hu komo afi okay bebi so de fa se petition na dipande koye no mampani de ma no eno no oyi mampani ano na de wo committee ne nchen no ono oni bi enti no onim se de wo committee ni nchen no eno ana mapende ma no ana onim na ho da se mi se bebre pepie firi mu bi sase anya bia committee ni sem ahodo mu bi sa no efa petition na mapende ma no ho ana se eyam sam foforo ana mu bi sa no ho asem So a be possible say mampani the petition ebe chief justice she level no president to chief justice. That president the petition ebe chief justice. Na chief justice ebe reply na mampani ebe te committee. Na committee na mampani te ye no edi different petition and a chief justice ne be daily. Can that be possible? Yasemo yebedi hu nkomo na yahwe. So as I said chinchine atwan committee no ede report no ema no wo bra mampani de report na ma no as so nya committee ni de ni bia na amanfo ayemfato hu bebre afashaloto se ho ene petition no ma me kan bibi ma me chief justice kan bibi se ohun se dwumakuo bi shining star bi saa kuo no kro mu ni ho okwhwehwe mu ano registrar of companies no we hu bibia saa ena wo ma di petition ni ba ye no so no sem de waka ame yate ni nyina nti na ebedi hu komo person se eyasem a eyasem hia o se de ekọ no anhwe betumi adane o mana butu so esa neti ampa yebedi hu komo pa na no pai wo mu a abeka mensa ye be hye enkomo twetwe no ase no as usual onunyanfo David TD Von D wono twifo atimokwa emrahye bedwani oginemu de ama NDC amanyoku no ana fe bra Ernest Adade wono ka MPP communication team no ho oye nadwemu do oye honorable Mr. Senfan Free also yeah chief justice press conference now where no in your opinion as a lawmaker, in your opinion as a politician, okay, yeah honorable so enchi na naka video bi yebebo at the appropriate time, yebebo video bi at the appropriate time. Mesan say maame ne kansama do bi ne sama okan ye no yebetie de okan ye sena bedi kankan no de mampani na nado dan kokufo adon so ekan ye no eno so yebedi hu komo ne ahwe se bebia mampani na nado ko commission ya ede committee no te wo eye adwuma no ne ma be na mampani na nado kan se yebetumi aye ewo ho edien ena mampani na nado kan se yebetumi aye ewo ho eyasem bi esese hwe ne ka wasem pai sanse anhwe ya ne akopeti picture bi se ho ehu ahwe nso be ho ehu so ampa nso be fu se ho enhu nti no ye be dandan ne saa ne ahwe se de mampani na do kan ye no ene de ye ma me chief justice nso esusu se onamu no saa neti ampa se nye saa neti a ne ye hu saa neti nso de a na sakra bi ho so mo ye nso a o matumi aye de afa ho nti na saa na ye be ye no nti se betumi akode a na mame ko onunyanfo vondi so mbisa ne se wo ye mra hye bedwani a wo hye mra na wo ye amanyoni na wo ye odinimfo a wo sua homa na wo nim ayi no press conference na ye mame chief justice baye no hunu ne sen
medase mame nchia na menchia menua communication member MPP
Ernest
Adade na matesi yesu woskanso ampa woskapa ntena bi obetomfo na ezi akrafo de aba form nti wotokra cha onu anya
ja no echi a abo
Wamincha wani anya bra hwe ye nchama akima de wotwofotimo kwa council state member na menua yosim anope me wife hwe show yibi
Mrs. Von D.
Or show ni bi na mamincha no na mincha minyanko brepo held a god otumfu nyankopon ani nyina ado madam confidence mu nyina mechia mo enne mehu Queen Stapokuya ne kuna frimu ya Mr. Olu ne postal abetoho si ebeye na yie ama makai eda papa ne frimu no ya Everybody fa ne krensie na onchichi ya maami wura kase me ya nyina menua Bible say ye wade nyina ho kwan na so nye ne nyina na fata yen ye wade nyina ho kwan na so mi fonde a meti he me mabrebe nhya meso ye maami tokono asem wo ibaye ada me kasa ho kane no me kan se be ya enko obi tuye maami no fo na nka pam no twa no edi ankura na wonya hu wiase mu fo wadwuma to ho na fo asomdwe kofie na resign ni boko emi se futuo no enduru ne nchan yie enenti ene no wakwa akobue ne ho so ebue ne yem ebue ne ho so ne koko ada yeya si obia mehwe no ankenkan ne mu nsam ya emua no emua ni nkwala ne ne kunu ene ne busua emua won say no press conference na ma me ne ya no we see ne bo say on resign na mom no wo bako be kai bra na is it 2012 petition no ekoye na atuguba na tidwam na Sir John yamefa ne krensie ene ne yimo professional electrician here latrin was then sa atubiga was then omko jira ho no kachira o say now show me your power you and the state show me the world show me your power you and the state say no toko no say ono ni state no ono no be show state ne power won resign you will fight on
they say you're right
hey, that is your right didn't make us say woni nyina ho kwan yo it is your right but ni nyina mfata wo menu aba memba menu no enyi nsine mebom look so shen samu amame di tu dwanu a ba kwa wo ne se bibia ye friend se wo mo edu lodge ho no a ye eye nsam no mbisam ne mpensem no ho no wakai se ni wo fa bi yakotena ho abopo ewo nkruma abreso yakotena ho abopo ene adi kum ne wofa no enti oduru ho a kai no I mean that is so childish with the greatest of respect to her. So we school ni we sua ade trigonometry now nim formula nim calculation na the dia de wo betena say answer question no de ehia say ehia o say de wo betena studio rakra na ebisa wa asem no a wo betimi ayi ano etosumi no enti de di nka ne say sa asem no amame ne de atudwa no aya asem a rodo rather asem obi ye jiji so kran ye yi
say venue no
so because you see toko no kotna ho no questions were not put to her under gunpoint nor duress in fact air conditions in not here no mutia konwa papa bi mu ni ebisi wasa no anya bere na wa wuyi ano there was no gunpoint nor duress. She was not forced to say things that she didn't want to say. So for me, I don't see how a whole chief justice, suspended chief justice, now they treat us say an intino infliction on your right. Really, I don't know. You see, but see a cheat your board here. A commodine into a courier board dear. One will say, I didn't say. One you nipa. Now they have thrown but now have air condition. You have access to all your lawyers and you have the right to answer questions. And no, the work I said they be by yeah. And those allegations were not founded. Why are we treating ourselves this way in this country? Are you better than any other person?
Beba, yeah, but venue na sama wo kan no. mampeni na nado dan kwakufu ado na eko bie ho na no enti prince wadaro ma se video na ready a yentie dia mampeni na nado dan kwakufu ado kan da all commission eye sa edu lodge ho no mampeni na nado air commission no se de yebetumi aye e wo bia ho no mampeni na nado kan e wo ni speech ni mu mo ma yentie kakra.
Fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be here today to commission the renovated A.L. Edu Diplomatic Lodge, a facility that embodies the generosity, vision and patriotism of one of Ghana's finest sons, Mr. Amishadai Larson Edu, A.L. Edu, as he was popularly known. Today, as we reflect on this exceptional project, we celebrate not only the physical edifice before us, but also the values and legacy of a man who dedicated his life to public service and diplomacy. Mr. A.L. Edu's contributions to Ghana and the international community serve as an enduring reminder of what one individual, guided by a sense of duty and love for his or her nation, can achieve. Mr. A.L. Edu was a trailblazer, a man who walked with humility and yet left indelible footprints. His service to the nation is a reflection of his belief that diplomacy is not just a profession, but also a calling to bridge divides, foster understanding, and create lasting change. His work reminds us all of the power of service, and his life is an example for this and future generations of Ghanaians to emulate. Ladies and gentlemen, this lodge is a gateway to possibilities. It has been designed to accommodate Ghanaian and foreign diplomats alike. Please excuse me. That can shape the future of Ghana and indeed of the world. With its 15 presidential suites, advanced meeting facilities, and cutting-edge translation services, it stands as a beacon of Ghana's commitment to fostering collaboration and addressing global challenges. But beyond the bricks and mortar, this lodge carries a deeper significance. It is situated in an area rich with history and meaning. Nearby is the Osu Christiansborg Castle, which served as a fulcrum of Ghana's colonial struggle, and later for a time as the seat of national administration. Adjacent are landmarks like the Nationalism Park, where the events of the 28th February Crossroads shooting of 1948 that fueled our march toward independence are captured. The proposed Heroes Park, where historic Ghanaian personalities are to be immortalized, and the final resting places of two of our late leaders, Kwame Nkrumah and John Evans Atta Mills. Standing here, I feel the presence of history all around us. It reminds me, and I hope all of us, that the sacrifices of those who came before us demand that we do our utmost to leave a brighter Ghana for the next generation. This occasion is particularly meaningful to me because it is one of the final diplomatic milestones of my tenure as president. Over the past 8 years, we have worked tirelessly to strengthen Ghana's international partnerships.
Mampeni na narudan kwakufu ado ne commission bebi a committee no eyo madwuma na wotie nsem o kan no a na chese o kan se ehɔ ne bebi a yɛwɔ advanced meeting facilities na yɛsɛ o bebi a betumi aka sɛ yɛsi yɛnko hia ne yɛnto ato adwene a niema akade a wɔ hɔ betumi de ayi adwuma no ɛyɛ de ɛwɔ animu advanced one ntino ɛnyɛ bebi hunu bia na o commission ade no nso no ɛyɛ Mampeni na nado dan kwakufu the second term ekɔ na wieye and the commission won to wotie ni kasa mu a was for the past 8 years, meaning say the last year our office as president no no commission saa ho no enti no ye bisa say ho no eti say
me da semenua enti no na chese ho kra no a advanced meeting room se kasa bibi advanced meeting room and as advanced place chese enya ordinary place o enya bibi ya ordinary it ya maso kakra ma na akosoro bibi ampanifo akotena adwene biribi ho afa adwene bi advanced meeting place to say one obi see you asem to obi so ne yaka say interrogate no police station one baby e dey rekoto akonya bi kura e dey mema o setena so baby e be pia wa hye corner bi mu no ho na o betena ne questions e bi sa kra nipa no kra no a posifo ni bi kra won wo tro de adwuma de be di wo no pasesia no wo de ene de advanced meeting room one kasa president or tray more yi wo edi wo ye sa chief justice onu na commission ye inte advanced meeting room eni edi wo kotena ye edi asampa na nka wo wutrim a opesa wo kan ho no sa advanced meeting room no edu hall ho a wadwia ma waso wadwina akotoso se adabi betwe mu a enkrofo bi kobo isi I think say enukura ne ya asem a esese yetimi emma toko no bua yen ni ye investigation wom
oh there ho
se wo kan se enkrofo bi nkruma bereso no saa ho no no mokotena ye ebo podi kum ni ofa sojani edu se saa no kan ya there is no one providing evidence bia say meeting because and nam so yedi kum ne ofa. I think said the police service must be able to invite her to assist in investigating those particular matters because these are serious allegations. Ebeboa man ni ehu say hini and the kotena hifa and the boy pobe ni edi chi ni ofa. Fa no to nchen. Na fa baby e de ne kotena bisa nsam no a woka ho asam ya meme hu say enya samua sabi. You see, as a chief justice, so wo be press because you see it never happens easily. Enya dia ye be kasa nchiro for afre politician bi ye di camera besisi for ndi enim so o me kasa de bi as politicians dey any no akeka no wo enya saa o ye ka the office of the chief justice ya suspended no na obey press conference inti nsemu a wo beka no again nsemu a esesa ye nsemu a yetimi tro ni esua enye nsemu a yedi tudwa kura kekesa na otimi kokasa bebi edi wotena ye bisa wo nsemu no is one of your concern na officer ninti ya treat we yi na yedi asema to onipa bi so di na akọ police station ye tutu na no a wo hu bebi yedi na atenada. I mean, we are all the same. Number 2, Mami Tokono say, Ojidi say, the akoso nyina ye politically motivated. Baby I true no. Se wona mu nyedura ye nante ho. Mami no am ye hunu se san o ye politician.
Adi ntina kasa.
Na wame hunu say appointment ye di man no any sa unanimous decision omo take 7070 ni nyina no say a political decision, political ruling na mamene ya odeba.
How?
You see, for the fact that she introduced her concern into politics tells you that our political reasoning and into ordinary culture politics. Otherwise, as a chief justice, I would do some betu politics. The enka fa ho ben. And into no, maami ne nnuama yo. Ne nsam kan ye. Any said your MPP communicators and your lawyer for a can some di no so no can ya say or your MPP woman organizer.
To be near some money. Or your penny.
What na me kan south here dear.
Matwase.
Me igbenu nti me ka twi no ya na.
Anya hwe.
Me say. ne ye ne kasa ani said ya MPP emranimfo ani MPP kasa mafo kasa ani maami nanka kasa no kamia yese wo ye MPP woman organizer
also what's your lawyer ni just a bit to access na adwuma wo mfia aduasa nwotwe 38 years na asomo man no Kwabena nti bibi onu behu a bia wa uti akire a me no mienu ye tiakire bia ye hu se sa na ti
Kwabena wani kumuna se wo beda wo nkire wo bia wa ye endalogy no abekire wo se wani kumuna kwakwada o dia lawyer fo a woni asua dia akire se wo mu ye lawyer fo di ye o man na empapa mu o mu di tu ye ne ye nya lawyer fo ni wo mu ntami eno no kamia ye se be ya nkiyantu law no ngo nchani ye fa common sense emfa mu o man enu ne be ma o man akonanim wa president Kufuor or the common sense and a bu o man ye kofa de o so ye lawyer ni de ani ye ne menia adan na wo no wo ye wasua mra akonanim anti eni nti ne mra na dru so a interpretation for mra na dru obi so de a ye mfa interpretation for fenni no adan na sese yesa ohini anano me betena studio ha MPP lawyer ni betena ha me bisa ne se investigation ya sha se ya di toko no fami dia petition ya di ba ye petition o di ba ye an investigation ya sha se ya ye nyina no akwan ben na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na ban wafum ewom o kire me se Kwabena not ha wasi emrane de eno na John Mahama de ye adwuma no nanso dan what you say emrano de se eno na John Mahama de ye adwuma no must it matter the person you are so we Chief Justice inti emrano yankwa no na eduro obi so dia yemfani no I mean, why should we do this to ourselves? Minia, osanso say, and someone why you the two ne so no. Dear His Excellency Mahama, I find the premier fashion woman no. In some jinaso krojen ya you the two ne so woman no. Yan kan chere no. Yes, I know can. Look, wona you the petition aba. Ana His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said the mrasha no what your krata the abrow say in some way near the ato so you are no ohini Charlotte was enya sa anka ebia obi so beto no so nimu asem kakra o ani asitoko no you are no said way near the ato so. What premier fashion case are you looking for again? The idea to so no. And one year the abrewo no.
Also say sa the man man. No, the man penny man no. And ye onim se no na committee no na because of
committee need mu.
And to the same kind the nature say the man no say
you see I mean we're not kids. So man penny ade saa de yi dia hye won sase de dia to so ni no man pani a kire wo se wasam a abai tena nchen se de mrahye se metimi amo tena nchen no afi bajefo a meyi won se wo mu hwe wasam mu ni enti ani wo mu ni nsa wo so no oni wo mu ni nkomo no saa asam no saa tumi no a mampani de ahye badwafo ne nsa ya wabɔ wamane no mampani no saa tumi na firi ne nsa akodu badwafo ne nsam nsam a badwafo no bebisa wo no sa wo fi sa emfa nsam a His Excellency Mahama de abrɛw sa no ne ya twora fa wo petition de afa wo no a woni ebisa wasam no ma wo monti asiasa asam a mu bisa me die enka de John Mahama de ama mo sa mu bisa me no ho na odi batu press conference odi kwa egbe mi a wo ka kye me nya odan efiri sam rana nkase si ya de petition no ade brawo toko no a fabre me vondi na me nkenkan anaso fambre wo Kwabena na kenkan it is for your consumption sama ya de ato so ni ohini ba ya no na badwafo a esese hwe asem mu no wo munie ene wo muni nsawoso na wodi betu dwai so wo pe public sentiment public sympathy keke ana wo hwe bia na wodi betu dwa ayeden good afetie menua
fondi
ensem no a yedi atu maami so no ayensem a abawo mu ana
so obubo so e ma ne kan say sankrata yi omde ba ye nyina no enhye ni nyina so bia ono akasi so dia pense enhye ni nyina so bia e ma particularly no abrante ba ko e frɛ no ne dimpo ye sempo Daniel Ofori aha okafa no se ne nsama ode efa no ho no enhye da enye nsam bia ewo nyina so bia
na se entria no enti ase de etria duam Daniel na etria ne de wonim se etria nipa sanke etria ono a ko behunu se yasam bia mpa na sanya asam bia fanya no koma bedwafo na yeyi wo mo na me a wo de betudwa na aka akere me menya ndan hwe wonim abaya de botechi no eno na ese de boba o na nka Charlotte senya ne se ya Kwabena wo ya samchuroni de bia makase se de wo ya wadwuma no si ye kase ye de no kuredie ayi samchurofo a wo Ghana ha when ni first obedi second Charlotte say petition ye de to no so number 1 asam kro no e de to no so atosu mienu petitioners no a e de asam no to no so no Kwabena wo hu bi da party bi da nanso yatena kurom ha me ya chinchin mmrai hasai mmrai poto e de asam ya to Charlotte so yiye no ya ni eti kurom ha ane de obi ehun se ena me no kasei mo ankasa mo se akwan ya His Excellency Mahama afaso e de ye hwehwemu weyi no mfumso bi ni ho nanso na ye ha me no nanso bi a chese ye fro obi toko no a wo ye na de te se de kamia ye so ye MPP women organizer enti ane ye nsesa mbra no o yes sir no man be ni etimi look so see anu what there His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and that is the problem I have with her. I mean, with the greatest of respect, why would you do that to yourself? See anu so no you know just say we really John Mahama, His Excellency the President, the intelligent and the very handsome President, that just we winning no. So why would you set such a competition for yourself? Why would you do that? Listen, it is sometimes it is good to shut up. And I keep saying that the MPP, they have me. I will advise them. Sometimes it's good to shut up and be quiet. You make a lot of sense when you don't talk. Say no. What be a pono mobile who say Sayo Ayatoko versus His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Why would you do such a thing to yourself? Why? Press conference awabe Emwabe pa na press conference we di be bua toko no asem. Emwabe na di be bua toko no asem.
So person Ghana for who the echo.
So that you shape public sentiment. Part of looking at issues like this, right? So Oman no who say talk on no sama ye di fan hui say ya na say nya baby ye di ne kwotena ye ya akufo anu akasa ko bia no ka say with this is a place for a very perfect advanced meeting ho no nye ye di talk on no kwotena ni ebisa na asem enye na mo bi ko wi abode na ko hwe police station ye di tena bisa na asem a no ebisa say ye ono no ye twa na nye moja na eba na no advanced meeting place pon ye a condition bono na lawyer 41 me gidi so omo ye tea kakra ma ne no me obo coffee kra no otinegwama no 10 say advanced meeting place akufo ado angasa commission ye ho nye adan ya wa kai say bre bi twemu a I mean come on, I mean, these are laughable issues, why will you do this now akwa bi o so obi ankenka obi now akwa shese I will fight it. What kind of powers do you have against the state?
Na say eyemra na di adwuma. Say one fight na say kwabase bi ekọ na wie na say yebugu ni so a. Also yes unprecedented.
You see some of the dribbling tactics you don't unveil it to your opponent. what you do is to shut up and fight it according to the law. One man me can't revi ase nyina say woni state ne bakon na wo be dinkunim. Why won't you shut up? Na wo dinkunim wie a wa ba beka. Wa wo ye wade nyina ho kwan yo odo nye ni nyina na I feel say the state may want to vindicate itself, and I believe that you are just on your way out with the greatest of respect. That's what I feel, because you set a stage that is too big than your ability to contain. I feel so.
Yeah, some part
which is not good for you.
That's it. Yeah, Kwaba. That's it. Adade. Press conference. Na maybe say honorable Vondin. Say maybe say. Now we share kwan say press conference bi sabi tumi abaso. Ye be call details of ne nsama okan ye ne nsama nkrofo kan say ye mfa ne say bia me ameti hai na manya say mi na asam court. Na asam ni ye di. Na makwa press conference. E dia fa ho say me call ye no. Baby ade me tena ya no cry informant na baby pa me see me if show them me see me hu a yes yam pede ma me hu me hu
record this dey go no hu
say na ma be keka nsam a ma ka de ese me ka bia na de omo ye na ma hu ni say o man ne pese tieta me fa hu die so na asefo wo bra asem court no ebinu say content me ye lawyer ni ye beduru woni aka wasem ma me press conference o ye no wo asobia wo so aya amanyosem na anya hwe kora no emra unkomra school wie mpo a uni wo mra hunim de kakra no unu ni sei
ja yo me dasi we de ma chia na ma chia me anu mo studio ani ahwefo da bia mo wo bia wo mo mutie yan so e wo internet so ni ni aman so e be chia wo mo nyina na ama mo akwaba eja rabo bonde nsem no de wa keka bebre o na mami areshe mu ba kumpe say omosi omo adwuni pi say mami ni pe o mami ni pe.
You see the problem with them.
You can't minute shell ongo.
You see the problem with them.
Asem o catch out what is mami na say this stage bi I say wa ma onu ani hu challenge say oni okodada oko aname boy enye sa no kan no say onam kwan so oko
wa set stage
no to the extent say
I said oko no oni omani to me nko
that oni mampani I say omo atintam to the extent say oko mampani ama na
aye otojamum
media minim say maami according as far as the NDC is concerned maami no okodada omunsem kikam omuniye omubibia dioma penina nkasa kan na anu bi atwa mu di okan ye emra ensem wei ehya ase di ekoso di ni mrantie ni mabawa na ekeka kire se maame no wokodada me okan ba bi nso se maame no eka ono nko a anka ono ankasa mfa na adwuma nto ho na onye den onko asomdwe said me na minim say chale owo bi adawo all die be die omo kume omo ayo omo adwene say menya ewudie ene ma me nko na me wu prekwan me hem say sa na ma me na aye na adwene say mo say me pro meko ene ma me prove kire mo say untumi emfa mbra ne nhye wonsem wo ye mampani mpo a me ma adwene ne say de ma me ne ye ni hwe sesi honorable Vondi san ka asem bi say obi akowi abanchi ono yenkohwe baby oda. Is it the thinking omo adwene ye wom say ti maame na wadi boni bia esefata say ye de ne be fa sa kwan bia ti sa so ana
enye hweso na oye
hweso na ode ma ye no asem adanse ni hu na ya ne akotwa asem ni bi dia ya adanse nti sa ode hweso wei ena etoto maame na asem hu ana wo pese wo kire say maame no ye nya ni na asem kura wa ye boni bi dada na sa na pese o kire enye sa dia hwe se obisa se tumi be na maame no wo editia etimi di oman ti jina no sa tumi no is enshrined in the 1992 constitution of this republic sa tumi no shape se obi biara ni dan mu ha onu betimi age me mfa ahudie bi ni me niam bi afiri me nsem enti Agya Kwabena ye na adwene se opeso yes atia me a constitution na guarantee me niam bi a me de bo me ho ban ana yesa enti maame ne tumi a otumi sorry tia niam a ye tia no a na adwene ye ne se obo human right abuses me boa obo so sa niam no onu na adwene no the man said bebre court no eno nkire say me di kan court a na me di bim be ma adwene ya me say no above ndi tietia me fa ahudie so ana oye bibia ensem fata etia me nti me komra nanim nti ma me na adwene ya ne say bibia sia etia 1992 constitution no a etia ono me fa ahudie eni na adwene ntire bia ogun kwan so raise but in some work kan ya train ma adwene CBB so ne o say de di kan o manfa to ho say niam ankrofo ne keka tia no no enya no kore ana enya sa na o manfa to ho o say ya say watu kwan ya man $14,000 say on fantu kwan komra me ma ya adwuma wa aban ministry da enti utu kwan ya ye wo sky ye de ma nipa bebre ko ba me ni wanu above ndi die say wa retire wo die bi da bebre ko ba brofo no nwuran ana ha ja me boa na nya wa nim sa o unim sa de me kan ye no
se me tie de awoko
obi kobra nwuran ma me no se okoba ye no de omo ka se hwe auditor general ti committee no so o ma me no se mo se me koba ye no ye ma me 14,000 man fa ma o se 2 days after me di 4,400 wa ma me ye fragadam say oh na me call ye na me to we na enti no 14,000 nasa o di 9,600 sambre wo mo auditor general ti ho eya no kore enya no kore be ma me ne say asamba ko e hanu ni say wo mo e bo me kwadu no wo mo e kasa tia no no ese so mo ba no mo kasa kwadu ya ye di bo ma mi o mo be gira mra na anim
no me yi omo ho ano
dabi o me yi ni ho ano o be kantam se obu santam no so a eye perjury we twa intro a kire mra
which part of the law
says that petition say petitioners no ejitum say ya mani sika o de etu kwan wanfa ama wa mabu ho akonta ana anya sa se nipa na o twere sa de ani gidi se eye no kore se maame no koba ye wa mabu ho akonta nipa ne magira mra na anim no nso ai wo mra na anim sa na ye no se udi ma se ye ka no wo court prison court and above ndi ama cell kromfo so once I wa bo me kwadu se me ma wia wo banch no maame ne se bagira mra na no na se bible se quran se dia hibio ni edi so se cross across no so I say dia me ka no me gina so aka se ye no kore se maame ne tumi court ho okọ na adwuma mu ho no tumi ko fa nkrata aba se mi ko ba ye no 14,000 na wo de maame no ehun nkrata ni a nipa ne twantro a kire mra no na ya chinu da dua ana enya sa
ebi ni mu ka se ebi asida anye de dikan ni a obi oda adwumaku bia no yeyi mampani ho no atwena sensen na ebi ni mu ka wo ka se obedi adanse de petitioner no emma bedi adanse na ebi ni mu so ka se ewa Charlotte say wono petition no kra ya mane bi ana wo mu so a ade petition no kra no wan hu nipa kon se wanti de nimpo na kanto mpo se wanya kwan kokoyi ni ho ano ana se wo hwe a owi atadio sorry oyemra nim ni o ma fie so do bi o se o ma ne mra no se hye obi kate so megina di adanse no enye sa ne tie enjo o se so hwe a cases ahodo bi wo ho a ode eno ye hwe so se
nyame ya ye call Supreme Court petition ye Supreme Court for justice wa man ka say o ma mami be adanse electoral commission ye de be dia mami na ma be dia adanse
enti o weta do sorry e de
na de ne onima
ti sama ahodo mienu e ye hwe so se nyame versus ansa e no ball 1989 to 1990 no Ghana baba law record o se wan ya be chirichiri mu ho ɛna ɔsan ɛbɔ baako bi asalobotwe ne si ɛno so say chinchina atwa nipa no a ɔde asa no ba ne begina hɔ eni adanse no enim rem wo baabi say ɛsɛ nipa no po obegina sa mamini so wadi say supina ɔse enye tumi sɛ chinchina atwan sɛ onipa no ɛbeba na ɔbɛbedi adanse ɛnyɛ sa na tie ana we no ɛsɛ ɛyɛ ne sa sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ no korɛ bi wo baabi ɛbɛda di ana sɛ esan sɛ bi ɛyɛ no
toko no nti
the American ne say when na ye drew Charlotte say me sha say Charlotte say yes say omu fa to ho na omu de mai e dia na Charlotte say na yes o me o say wa bo me kwadu me say ejase ma wia ne banchi na ye bisa de we wia ban o say we wia banchi no we wia ne banchi ana o say de eja ka bia was it not what happened in the court said the MPPC yenyi ye ho ano meboa na Charlotte say almost say asem bia NDC for the buy bia no munyina so mboa me na he has waived that right ono so betumi agina atia agina te say the maame toko no atia agina yi wa frasa nipa ni meyi na no na wa ma she decided to waive that right no call electoral petition ye di calculator share owo asi edun kenti ansem ye to ma no so we are see edun ketia numbers na wo dey aba court say wo dey wo ni mu no dey minti na wo gina court no di calculator na bo wan ka say bo obi dey o dey wan ka saudi ba ye no bo oboma no no see faship oboma no see faship what so if I have the right wo wa bo me kwadu ana adwuma we despite media see ye jadi you have the right to go to court you have the right to you have so many rights under the law. Now see me na me de me ho momfa mo adwuma na ma bre mo kura na wo ko na media despite media see omo ayi madi na me say menti ase me de despite media be court na wa ba ka che me say ye yi Agya Kwabena di no ye yi ye sorry ti akwa Charlotte say no wan ka hwe we or decide so be waive those rights nti no me nso a ye di mi no ma me so me nka ho asem what are you talking about honorable Vondi now we are the DY by there. Mamina raising human rights issues. Media bakuna there is subjective on the presentation no dear or can say a few hono a bonu. Anameboa. Yeah. It's subjective. I know there or no dene who minim dear no. As I mean story be job me akwalapa na me na efie ewe kurase. Nsuo kase bi toy pa na peja roof no. Manim akwala kete unse sa dia na traumatizing me be pim ne nti da bia me wo fie na nsuo kase beto na emframa aboa
na wakai
na me yem se me fie bibia ye better chance adu na not dan na ewe kura na se ho but I'm traumatized at my age the medri emframa bobia na maka che nkwala no munye eya manonia anka ye psychologist mami edi me kasate teme mami ma nfa to ho etoso mienu owura ajeje o dey say ajeje free castle ho no onu anu utom say duru ba bi no o kofie na waka a kire ni driver ne say on branch na ya omunko American ka o free akonwa no so no ke e beti na atena ho na ya debrief no na ya di na fantitie mu because we deep man penny we deep power for like 19 years no ye mra no for like 10 years or 11 years no ye mra no na soja buying that is one out here 8 years no na mra no na odi ye adwuma nso ye tumfu a okasa nkrofo move owie ye no esa ye de ne tena dan mu de man ti ase say Agya wadawroma to me we ni hobi those things otherwise a bedi na chi till he went to the grave obedwe na adwo be ni say na unti say owe akufo e ka say time obat obedi to me no owo ho na ye say owe rolling say ye mbefre no mampani no na mampani dada otu opeso oda no yeah owe akufo kan say murefia. So there are times that never be what the effect it will have on you. So I mean, I feel I don't know what you be, and it's a personal experience. The woman's experience. They were also any warfare net. So meaning I want yeah, near my course no or call Legon Crown on the warfare. So on any warfare relationship makes it and we are subjective for me. But the rest say or can say oye mranim ni mapa in fact wa fa mransem no mu akodu etire pa wo mayimu the chief justice of the country mranim fo nyina hene ananya sa chief justice enyo no oye mranim fo ni nyina omo I said the apex odu wa we nti onya obi a oye oblivious to the law and no culture say the article 146 147 na mu use no mu buso it will raise issues of the law minya mranim ni wo mranim ni bia so wo said you see kire onu ni mram nti na the judge ne be kan na final no anya sanka lawyers bebre kokoto a na adwene mu ni say case we dia ma wini ana ne boa ba akukra petition no ba akukra kan ho so no the nasem ko na yes chief justice and then asem ni nyina ne say maame no raise niama bia onu na adwene mu no the rule of law is being subverted na adwene no onimra ne cheme and onimra ne che a lawyer for na omu kika nsem ni bebre nti na okata dio sorry ni niama no we num ye akuku dambi nti omu chro niama na bebre wo ho no the reason why me kind omu articles are me kind ye ni say nipa ni bi wo ho no a o ma niama bi embe for onu ni integrity a wa build over the years nti sa nkrofo ni chro niama bi a me kind ye pa because na wo hwe wo mu nso a oye lawyer ni nanso oye NDC ni nti asem we aba no yakọ ho wezon akọ kachire wo se omu lesi omu boot na ye ba power ye ba be support wo mu ama omu akọ bench oye lawyer ni why na empa de pa enti onu no o kasa wo radio so ni TV so ti said ye ti heya onu ni kasa no nko because wa lesi ni boot no ti ho o beko because omampani na mu opemu na nkasa hye ne bo se wo beko tenasi ye na wo beko ono kasa e wo radio so ni TV so a eno move me kese ti se sa asampanimfo akuku dam na omudi mu no nti omo articles no se chia kura na lawyer fo bi sorry tia kura na utunu se we die mu ohwam kakra nti aja ensem na maame na akeka ni nyina no o se oyemranim ni ba ko kan ye Thomas munye o se mramu no se ye koba obi kwadu na ye be frɛ no court a ye wo kwan a ye fa so oboni ama miensa o se ye be ye writ na ye de petition na ka ho complain na nipa ne di ba ye ne ye de be ka ho enyina so ni niama ono de bata ho ye de be ka ho na nipa na wa bɔ ne kwadu no ye de ama no enye de Agya Kwabena ti hu kire me enye de mi hu no social media committee na ye setting ye no ya man terms of reference ya man adwuma under the law sa committee na ya man adwuma no say mi wo petition ni bi say mi ni bi say mi wo enkrata na ye de bo mi kwadu ni bi say mi ni bi say bibia esese ba no say mi wo bio say mi ni bio eye omo asede wo mramu say
yes omo
de mamia ya bo mi kwadu a omo na omo frɛ me anya mampani na frɛ no anya mampani a
de so no so gina ye e de call ho se mampani de nkrata no koma no o se kwadu e de abawunie me de amount me yi ano
nti me yi
ano achi no me de ama bedwo se na mara ne chese me fama castle state me de ama omo so se ensem wom e se tum be yi nsem ano ene ati committee se be yi nsem na nti nsem na wom de ma no se committee na dwuma be ye ne se petition no ye bebi sa omu nsem se asemesisi sei eyampa enfam sa watwere anu ye di aba no ye pese bi sa anu ye bra wi anu ni nyina no ebe ma ho kwa mbom se bisa supplementary questions a ebetumi ama omanya nse bi de free mu
1+1 nkrofo bi say 1+1 to me 3 na wa say calculus na wa ye odi Agya gina ho na odi von di gina ho a omo ye nipa mienu de obeye ne bia ye nipa mienu de make an say committee na omo akotena se committee na frɛ maame se bra committee na adwuma ese se omo ye ne se ye betoto wa no se omo tutu na no omo di nkrata no ma ne na enye yi Agya e ba ne se na omo anfa na no yie na odi koma mampani no na omo anfa make decision
se ne anya possible
so wa yi na no dada de wo be bisa no wa yi anu dada
enu se mra no so
de wo kan wo asem na metwa bidia asa amane wo
sesai
se de wo kan ye ne se ye friend say ombe yi ni ho ano maame ne say mo afra me say me be yi me ho
enye sa na mra ka
mra na eka saa ubisa say de enti na omo frɛ no de enso na ogina kɔɔye na me say mra no wo to committee no to mi no wo mo ho nti yesi Agya Kwabena bra sesi Agya Kwabena ni anu ube ko wanko a ye de krata ebeba abefa anase obema aprosifo aba abefa waba enye sa bra na sa na tie ada they will subpoena you or umbe issue warrant say yembe so awo mra the American say the committee na frɛ no waba o say de enti amofrɛ me ne wo hen o mo say watwra man mampani dada enya mampani na frɛ no say de otwa mampani no na mo ye interested a anka mu gina e no so e di bua ne
na enye so no mu gina ye ono gina ya enti na so ono pe different
say mo afrɛ me de enti na wo Agya Kwabena wo afrɛ me say memra ni
committee no when eti committee de enti na eti committee no nyina so be enti na eti committee no committee na djuma na
Agya me phone so a enra me party mpanifo afrɛ me say meba UTV meboa na obi mpe ascend topics amami eno kire say me omo afrɛ me mo afrɛ me say membra UTV be mo difa me mpanifo so enya sa me mpanifo di ma me wie ye mo asa ma me die enti a me ba ha de na me beka eno ma me ne kana no say Agya Kwabena wa afrɛ me say member tena wanim UTV ni enya show no play show na ye ba be ye no me ba de na me beka wo Agya Kwabena ka kire me. That's all she's telling the committee. That's my understanding. And I make her say, Mamini Yemrenim ni mapa. She has impugned the violation of her human rights. She has written to the court. Unfortunately for her, and I make her say, Mene Honorable Vondi ye adjene or Rim Kutre 25 or Kodada. Kodada. But the American say, what track of the same Supreme Court. Supreme Court now, unfortunately, the Constitution, I don't know, but say ye who bibi. Obi okasa ye Constitution who bibi no menene adwene. Wo mo a otwere koma wo mo no. Bi hwan na edi na ade SSA or ye acting. Ebi a eba ne critical. Na say ti say the American say omu trimu de okodada yi. Na ma ame no kwa. Enya omu bi na ebedi na ade. Ya lesi en butiti ho.
Nti saafo no
ya lesi ya mbutu ti ho
sampanyefo ya
ajajefo ya omoti hoyi de nti aye kan say committee no de aye say yenye keke ni enko ye
ntabi o kan
because committee no empanifo mienu a ebe tena so no o mampani na pa wo mo council of state fo yi ye nyina ye ni mo nyina lini
anka yenye ne sen
the constitution na ma tumi no edi tumi na ma
enye mra na edi
na me na Honorable Vondi ya adwene no
enye mra na edi
onko opa regare boto
eye mra na edi adwuma mra nkire say ni hwe na ye kan ye decide say
the law is the law but the same law na obu frɛ o si unanimous 11 and unanimous 11 the team and unanimous 7 unanimous 9 same law
etia fa say
manunsi na bra me say me pese ye ti ase o kan mranse me yi na no ne ma no ma tworo mranse no kan ye no time na mo kan unanimous 11 no na mran na ya nansesem na nyamra yeah the law was the law the law is the law the law will be the law
nti se mo the law ni ya adwuma
so don't worry
then the sequence
and na me kan no say kan no time o mo kan unanimous 11 no na mran nya nansesem na mrani nye gbogu
okay
na mrani nye newspaper na mrani ye mra
mesa ba so bi
they shouldn't worry
mesa ba so na anopai
Kwabena
ya sumpa ha na ya wa hanche mama ya wa bamu bi na fe ya di nkomo na Emmanuel wo Virginia Emmanuel so abeka Emmanuel wo Virginia so oye chief crusader crusaders against corruption ana kan ya wa carry
o me nua dia na me fanya
wa carry wo se na kwaba
ya me nua
ya boko de wasi ya wen wow ya de mra na chichiri oman wo fie kura na wo ne wo mma wo hihye mra so bia betumi di mra no so nti obi bu na nigu mra no so a asotwe wo ho se yemfa ne se ebia committee no ewo assemby eka ebinum esusu se sankama me no assemby kan ka press conference sanka so ye she should have sent her consent to the president because article 146 11 no chere say the president may revoke the suspension enti no say yemfa ne say ebia bibi committee na wo se me wate no mako committee na nim anama committee no etu no ne amoye no mampanin mempe enye sa nan kese se ekono no sa na biru susu aka ma me na eye na mo no wanye ne sa na bebeto abonten we am na nim ni press conference no ye no ebinim say contempt of court esan sa me amitie samasebo court na se bia omudi na me koye press conference kasa say ajaje for na eteso no kra no obaako na asibi nsem bi e ba ye kra no otena su bi sa ajaje no kra no menyini ni ene hu samsam ma be press conference say atemu no mai ba mabu atan e wo me madwini mu ana se me nsusuye mu ya press conference ye ko yi any said yankofo keka fa hwenu mamti wadwun chebe 10 minutes
makuchi some enso
okay
maybe allow me to run through
okay.
the questions the dika makers what's the legal status of the committee nankasa no omo emramu omo susu den adwuma na emramu omo ye because we use our question na no a ebe boa mayate some of the questions now obusa no ebe mayate say oko 1474 just with emphasis getting to the later part the 5 the committee appointed under clause 4 of this shall investigate the complaint the key word here investigate that's when say ye justice be fio either than the chief justice committee na better under 5 no a investigative body over verse 7 na me say verse 7 me preaching ya che mo fa nche me 7 no 1467 says the committee appointed under clause 6 of this shall inquire inti eda meme susuye mu no eda appears a committee no okay 5 na 7 ni boma enye fa kwa sebio is a court per se enye because
omo ko hwehwe asem mu say asem no no kore anasa nya no kore
exactly ye court ye neutral third party ho fa kono bebo wonkro o bebo wonkro we bebo no nkro the otin finfini no enye na adwuma ne se obehwehwe asem ni mu fa kono mienu na ebebo wonkro se eye criminal matters in past state no na ebebo wonkro na wa ye de kwadu na born we defend ho but it appears to me say the nature of the committee is investigative or inquiry yenya jitum said the nature of the committee no enye sabio court in the typical nature of what a court is but say was a hwehwemu na consent nimu a then the questions of crime ben there was a sa committee no faso eye na adwuma e was a hwehwemu and as say adwuma na committee yadama committee na was a pension mu no which brings me to the second question sa adwuma no oye no kokoamu ana say oye no wo petemu constitution is very clear say the committee na adwuma no ebe in camera verse 8 and I think say aka ofia say in camera no cry italize no that means that there's emphasis on shall say committee na adwuma no
say kokoa
e say kokoamu adwuma say ye jitum say committee na adwuma no e hwehwemu adwuma but the hwehwemu adwuma no ye no kokoamu a question a epie biem ne say se committee no eti obi fa ahodie so a sa sam no obi hu kwan ana somebody who is a party man hu kwan say afi odi betu pete ma na
okay ana say so de kokoamu say de kokoamu adwuma
odi kokoamu say de niam mienu committee and I say quasi judicial body say you can no mram no yeti committee bia hwehwe mramu asigina ye say judge say court enye court there but a first bia say court into say oye adwuma no onye ni ya utimi call high court no catch high court say kwanya offer so ye adwuma no to mra and utie yamami chief justice o kasi ni pi say waman a lawyer for so on high court na the people say the lawyer for high court and the process no of ifihwemuno is straight in its sense say enya no wokokuama then na was a for baby particularly the merit of the case no I was say a debate abonting which is then the optics and the law said you yechere senior obi behu omanfo no behu de ekoso and I say mrano na ye de adwuma. From the way I've proceeded emrakon ne say bibi o ha ne enya adwea oko high court for a supervisory jurisdiction na say high court ne ye adwea omo be shemra for what the committee should do. I think say yen nyina ye gitum say and my Agya maka ofia say ya me yani nko committee no ho ye started the day no because committee no ye ni mrabia there are no rules a sheshe kwaya committee na won say fa so ye na adwuma and because say ye ni sa rule no the procedure no mema dream there should have been laid down for clarity but a media say ni ho into untimi fault the committee no for doing anything wrong but in the spirit of say progressive no and I think the majority leader has, for example, said, say, I say, Edemra to 146 year. But untimin say committee no aye atom rabi because committee no emrabia ni ho. But ususu said your all year di hwehwemu no etom high court na oko. Say oko high court na oba the public to court public sympathy in the strict reading of the constitution memi susu yem watomra memi susu yem. As to whether or not say
what they are summoning alcohol high court say high court to issue and come out or we are signing at by a press conference next say me how can me say gdie na ye ni e high court no mu enti and yes by a press conference why assembly court
the matter will soon after the merit of the law near mistrust of the process the politics of it right inteja semran say assembly enka wokukuam and I say ususu say a science say yen hihye bibia nto ho no the investigative committee no adwuma omo ye ususu say tomra high court na oko then tina waba petemu edi nsem a constitution is very clear say yen kan wokokwam no to petemu you can understand say sebio misusu say nsem say ne esi ko no ebia me process ni misusu say senya yenu adade kan no ebia osusu say edan ye beyi no nti me nkama me so ma me fa no omanfo no nte me fa na say but I think say it should have been at the end of the process if honest or she should have opted out from the process from the beginning nti efin fitiase no petition ne ba no even before say she got the petition, she requested for a copy of the petition, which is to avail herself to the process. The process may cause wo kwan bia ususu say atomra wako high court in yan decide here. Process may supposed to be in camera. If you feel strongly said the process after the jandam and you opt out of the process because you see I think said the in camera requirement no there's a reason why constitution no as I dey shy tireless mo and na say your obia intimi in kind 1468 better says the constitution say in kan assembly opetemu as to whether or not the considerations of say in kan wokokuamu no national security matters or otherwise across supreme court has made a determination say in some no constitution say in kan wokokuamu ti yen kan wokokuamu. It would appear to me said this etiamrano but the entire area yamami chief justice afa ne shabrasha nensa kama ye nyina ya tene say ebia no onje process ni ndi she has maybe a distrust of the process and the politics of it. In distrust of the process, no nyama mienu na meka because eja yedika mini petition ni bi. And Makawa, I think that almost say social media. There is a reason why I keep emphasizing. Said the social media no any petition, mini petition maybe because again the constitution they say in camera. Into me better your petition Libya. I am literally saying that I am privy to an in-camera process.
So you should be invited.
So the edika mini petition nibi. The atoso me no American. I am not privy to the in-camera hearing. The akoso wo kokwa mu se bi menya lawyer mo bia nti me nko kokwa mu obi.
Exactly.
The omo ye wo ho se bi o tia ne fa ahudie so ana o tia ne fa ahudie so no. Me hu bi menya sure say ya wa afidie we so. Obi ahu what is going on. The ayate eye ono anu asem. Ya ma me chief justice anu asem. I think the proper form, the reason why I court and say the rigor of the process, say me court na me koka sama. Ye tutuma no and answer na court be make a decision. Obekti afa no ni mienu nyina be make determinations of fact, determinations of law. In the high court decision, and na yesu yebobo hu ya enka gina so ohwa ye betimi agina so ya ka say high court ni decision no eboa de ma mi toko no ka no ana eboa no, then we could go to the merit of it. It's at this point ye nyina yent mean to have to make a categorical statement about the merit of the process because I am not privy to it and I don't know anybody who is privy to the process. But obviously, I am talking about process.
So on India, say emphasis say on the processes in India. But ni same the press conference no can say be say atemo for it asem no skra committee no ba ko wo mu a oni petition na ba ko asem bai. Ema ono mutimafo no tena asem no so bi. Ana so nipa ko no mutimafo ko no so asa betena sa petition akro no ni petition so. Etina kwa say a kind of conflict of interest bi ebe mu ho nti enkese say anya hwe sa member of the committee ni dia kese ezi etumi yi ni free mu na de foforo besi na nan.
Eja makase mene ya ma me eya adwin to the sense say committee no mra bia na ho. In the sense there are no formal rules around it. Inti say you say yeko kotochi. Ya nka say yeko anopa na yeko awia. So ko de anopa na me comedy awia. De here say you dey watch kotoba. Inti menene ya adwi kosi say 146 no, there needs to be a process around it. I was say yehhehye mra a committee no ntena ye kwan de betimi aye committee member kwan ya committee ni pafa so abaye ni hwehwe mu ni nyina no I was say e de to edwa but empre ya mra bia ni hu ide se bibi etia ofa ahudie senia emra no kan na high court na wo hu to me so obesusu committee na adwuma ya ma mi choko no adika ka se ode akọ high court dada it say akọ high court dada dia eja ade na ya ma high court nyen na adwuma na high court adwuma na obeye ni mum esi wie na se yesusu se high court ayam from so a yemfa mrano intira mi bisa se mrano na ye kan na se public sentiment no se nyamba public sentiment ni dia na se bi onye mra bi na ye kan eye se bi omanfo no bete ase na o ma pay asem na o pay asem ya eno akoye PR any optics ne politics because omanfo for na che to me omanfo no nti se me beka masem na o pay masem a e bia ya so pa meti ya make e bia obi pay masem nti those are matters not of law me ko judge anima emra any facts are me ko kan judge no mfa ho ni say ya so pa hu ya me fa na enya me fa emra na de ya adwuma e wo court nti enyaba public sentiment there na enya mra bi ni eka because ejamene wo ha eka sa asem we the basis of what the law is say judge si ginaya o si ginaya no e wo kwan o no pempo a wo say ohu mra emra no support the open no nyesa onya ba bi emfam emra ni nyina inti bayeba publica say bi o Facebook say ya obi a kire na dwen na dwen na obi a kire no nkire say emra kwan so Inti yenyate asesa then Misusu say Yamamino is making a choice for the public forum because bia na Osusu said the legal process is M1. So if that is a conclusion there, then the problems are deeper. Because I just say Yamami Chief Justice, who is just suspended, is making the statement to Anas Menkasa Wakasa, but if we can imply, say, by opting for a public forum, it can be effective court process, then the question is, Sebi, the process. I still believe in the court. I was in court yesterday. Because I have faith in the process. Ako High Court. I think officers of the court, we must defend the court because I think it will be unfortunate if we would understand say Ninkasa Yemuni Nsusuyeno because a court no senior unanimous serving and I say denigrating the court will be very unfortunate because assemble a court was say yakokano indeed the integrity of the court is adia I was saying who adie na ye pejam because Afro barometer e come say court no mujidie ani mudro e kwa na e kofom ya said say ya ho ade senya omanfo no beje say asembia ba na kokota enye say wo pe na be ye ho but court ni si gina ya sa gina ya na court na si no mra eni adanse hu na court ni dia si gina ya say ya hwere sa dia ne dia
e be ha dwene o kan bibi mamene kan bibi say yemfo ni say na asem o kan ye no si yesusu ye fa ni say bia kame so oni gidie ewo system no mu a sa system kro ya so na ono no ye pani a oda system na no enti se ono atumi ababeka se committee wanko committee nanimu a anka na onim se system se na tie dia se da kan na ye nhihye mu ne ye mransem mu ne ye kotu nsem no ano hye ese obi wo ho a ordinary person say me di can be say no you find some many case asem wo court na maba abaye press conference na makasa dia fa na say court no me bu court na nimutia me wa asem no so no court wan so na ewo enti so no ye pani oda no etumi ema ye hunu say system no say na say system gidie ni mu a me ordinary person no eni so obu maba mukura na
eja me no ya dwenti na me kama ni say I think say me susu say sa no
okay.
But if the sentiments are that say the judicial process number format, that would be very unfortunate.
Okay, me that's it. Me that's it. I will say, my minute raise consensus how do be. Now the main one I'm for I can want someone say. Asamono ankasa say yakukuom, but no cry cano. Or say asamono and social media and will be frankly speaking, me am wo Mindibi. Yes. Eti assembly nam social media and if you na ko social media ho. Say the social media no say you know say no be confirm say because me initially na before say obi na atwe bibi dey ato keke. But per no na sem obe kan ye no na say the mampeni de man no any the social media no ade kro na so wa confirm say eno na ewo ho. Ade no so ye no in camera. Enti obi bi say wobra ade ne ba social media onim se ade no esese ye ne in camera ye no kokoma se obi ahu bi ana obi ati bi na aba bonten no anka ho no kura no be nyina so obi aka se asem a mo se mo de me ko gina asem no me edi nkomo yi asem de pia bonten asem de pia bonten ye na committee ne ko anya de a me ba ni se obi ahu asem no dada wanya ne sa and we di court we di processes na echi be sabre ansa no press conference no it obi bi say edie na se yenti na fe ansa no hu ne say community djumadi omudie no enamra kwan so anu ti wo high court
eja me das ma minchia ahwefo na etifo nyina ene
Minya no me wa hanu. Vondi de me disowning nene.
Yeah, Papa Joe action one shada.
Last time I me ba hanu. Yeah offer Sampi Yale.
Oh.
And any be share wa hanu. Strangely speaking, and now coincidental baby amity. I had Mami used to opportunity, not knowing said that would have been the last time I hear
yeah.
And see, Mami used to opportunity non share a busian for Ninading. You will GDSM repayment. The to say in a year the boy a busian a bear at the abu busian. Makani say, and remember this issue of Chief Justice, ne petition, near Koso, particularly the entire so many nuances a Koso near Adinina. Look, it borders on just one thing. Whether you pursue issues in the court of legal competence and jurisdiction and the court of public opinion. Those are just the two things. Now, Oshemwa Inka almost yina yeti with the exception of lawyer. And Anka court of public opinion you rely so much on. So much. Because, you know, to a large extent, it deals with sentiments.
Yeah.
We pay the sentiments of people. Into most of the things, especially the politicians, most of the things our politicians can is just to wipe, and bring up the emotions of listeners and followers. What they're not too straight proof most of the time they are not able to tell or prove what it is. Into largely, you rely on court of public opinion, knowing very well says there are some court of competent jurisdiction. It is difficult for us to prove and able show any evidence near it. And so that one is there. But you see, say unya individuals, and in this case, a person on the head and was just a few weeks and months ago. On the head of the courts of competent jurisdiction in this country. One of the most important arm of government in this country. To the extent said, so you're part of the executive and now you're part of the legislature. It is not for fun under your constitution, terms, limits of term. Into a bit after every 4 years, be no court to see say you be renew mandate and I renew So your president in Pudi Abega just say actually 2 terms you are out. But that type of limit it is not in the judiciary. So in other words, the framers of the constitution who say judiciary are one of the most important, if not above all, the arms of government. Very, 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 very important. And to do one more framers of the constitution say a mouth tenure of office. Yen cast every 4 years be a brand yen renew mandate in Maniade. To say be a time associated so called legal kind of pension. Now into say unya obi in this case Tokonu, right? That's the name.
Yeah.
Ono no share judiciary ne so. Every now and then to a large extent to me debating you lose confidence in the judiciary and all that, and yet they come out to say that the judiciary we should have confidence in them. Now all of a sudden unya a former chief justice and now a suspended chief justice and now empo chief justice coming out to move away from court of competent jurisdiction to the court of public opinion. I think it is extremely worrying. Very, very, very worrying. It will be very strange to see anyone say obeso so woman so path that we decided so we taking. Because you see, it creates so many bad perception. Am I your court na ye try say you believe in it. So much, and it's so dangerous. There are some America. Or the young fan impose say yes, or the about court of public opinion. The mete now has to do with human rights abuse. The right is being abused. The right is being abused. The right is being abused. Look, and your name Muhananiete. And we had an instance, and I'm just going to use one instance, that involved Chachuchi Kata. Did you ever hear Chachuchi Chikata during the process coming to the court of public opinion? Did you?
No.
Why? Because Obilivi said, okay, even though court of competent jurisdiction, simple and 100% we say, as far as you decided say we'll go with Imbrano, he will battle his case there. And yes, such and you know, and in the process, Otumi winning a case, a whole court was declared unconstitutional. What does that mean? And see, if we have someone who is supposed to be the Chief Justice, she's supposed to know the Embran. It is a onim laws, no. At the end that say Owojidie pa say one Owojidie what the process is name and our court name Embran. Not true. Owojidie pa say Owonjina soa. Adena ono nso on take the Chachuchi Kata path. Now non-co seek redress with the court. So that at the end of the day, say Ninjina so no beto just say ampa there's substance in it. Why? I don't think say a court is so messed up to the extent say ode, evidence. Beto just so much. Court no be closing the eyes on you. Of course, we've had instances of where unanimous and all those things comes in. But those are just 1, 2, 3 cases. Yeah, we can't use it to generalize the competence of the court. Also, human rights.
Yeah, abuse. It's and found in the bag. If you show in the bag, search, no. So, baby, I said, I'll call. Yeah, susu.
Omo American embassy in here say to omo dey na come up. There oye no. Say ye abuser. Me no ti has say. Say ye na policeman abusing her. What do we do?
You report to.
Ye ba e press conference.
There be ye copies.
Inside the non-copies.
Or GPips in the press conference.
So that is the problem, and that is where I am. You see, that is where that is for me. That is where the problem is. The impression are all creating. Say on institutions, institutions. Where do they take their powers from? From their constitution. Is she not the one or catching and say the law is in her bosom?
And that the law is the law.
Is that not in her bosom?
Sadly.
Until law enunti yetua woka every month for the past how many years? Law all hweso enunti no utumi tu kwan yema security and all that for the past how many years? And then now be creating impression to us say unji law nindi.
Also there's a threat on her life. The threat on her life.
What is the threat? So now and yes platform yaso and so many platforms in this country. You discuss the number of threats that was meted on me as a chief crusader. The first thing, I mean, sure, one of the first threats I mean, it happened here no that morning. Me free a number of people catch one, but one of them me free catch no. You could feel watching. Only advice of the man. Go to the police station and report.
Okay.
Simple. And I went to report it. Basically, case in the police station. I say investigation and I say whatever Betoja. Na Betoja say me perceive say Agya Kwabena and a threaten me sad time now. I can still take it to the police station for investigation to take place. And only how you build democracy. Are you getting it? Wouldn't it have been weird? Says that time a whole police officer me boni din. Me friend catch him no I catch him say kona press conference. Wouldn't that have been weird? Say, I know me, but catch you as an advisor, police officer, Edema Minunua. But then, okay.
Let's go police station.
Police station.
It's not Kabana and Konya Diana say. On the Chief Justice.
On the Chief Justice, ain't he? Go and challenge the fan who did, say, in for abusing. Why do we challenge it? And finally, challenging.
Committee and assembly him.
It's why I didn't know on Kononko, yes, I didn't know. And when I make start, make sure I make Bibi said, say, most of the times, almost all the time, say, obi the assem ebe dane court of public opinion. to a very large extent, only any substance in it. Very often, only substance in it. And that is why that is why, particularly politicians, because you humanly say, you better pay out the emotions of people in it's not so much about legal. It's about emotions. Into being politician, no about media, no about the can just to bring out the sentiment, sensationalism. Okay, we.
That's all your judge. Or your politician. It's because all can any politician. They
no. And the difference in it, or your judge, on your politician. That is the reason why say Owunjina Swa. It is all no the cocoa. It's
necessary. Yeah, no, you say why any Nyaman say politician.
That is exactly what she has done.
How?
But that's the explanation I've given to you. And I mean, the point is that
let me pinch.
No, Mr. Nase, me sure say most of the people are 18, so 100% chiche. Point is very simple. Sevondi, Adiache, Sadiache. Now me who say Vondi, Ebejina radio so TV so make any issues. Can simply ni adia. I will not blame him so much. Because see them kind, that is the game politicians play. Okay, so on Franco Quarter, most of and you had look, sir, vetting committee, recent vetting committee. In some a politicians and kind of bejina vetting any man over so a political talk, you can't sign. That is it. Is Tokono trying to tell us as he says she's reducing herself to a politician? Is that what she's doing? Chachu Chikata Krampo, Obiampo nimne political allegiance. It's to a large extent or a politician. But Chachu never went to the court of public opinion. Why? Because no one Njina so. Me say Chachu to me koya a whole quarter ya set it up. Or to me ko argue in the case say the court itself is unconstitutional. If the committee no or a problem with the committee, why can't she go and argue her case?
Try to call High Court.
If they call High Court, why is she coming to disturb all of us? Honestly speaking, say the press conference, they are no time. Show me. But I said they will be near the sympathy of the public. Apart from that, what else? Getting the sympathy of the public. What's the difference between or no any politician who is always looking for the public emotions and sympathies? Tell me the difference. So what they are saying, Akko High Court. What they are saying, Akko High Court. I didn't know if High Court ever be in public opinion. Into by so that you get what? Just like we are hearing a lot of the MPP people giving more, and you're good, and that is all what? Emotions. And then what happens?
Anyway.
At the end of the day, what will happen after the emotions? I will accept or will be part to do. And honestly speaking, me, in the press conference, me just snippets of it. I didn't really commit my time and say, be a press conference into me jai de me 80. Because Mete so I think it was the night before. I know will be sending me flyer. Be say obe addressing the public or something. Say the Chief Justice will address the public. So I saw it on the flyer. I was like, but who want to waste his or her time to listen to this? And honestly speaking, say ye per se ye J and Brady as we are all doing. Say indeed ye per se and Brano eye nejuma. What we do, they say, you believe in the court process. You think the court process over this past years, it has been 100% accurate. Okay, prisons now, innocent people are doing much. Now, anyone know the head of it. Is she not aware? And then about the catcher and say, I think when we say law, no, there's a problem with it.
This is a serious statement.
Which one is a serious statement?
Serious statement is where.
But we are not joking.
There are people in prison who are innocently put there, and she supervised it. Which means what?
Are you putting words in my mouth?
That's what you said.
No, are you putting words in my mouth?
Telling them.
Means say baby. I don't tell me say means say baby. You must make What I'm saying is this.
I said that the innocent people are
innocent people prisoner. I never
said that. As we speak, there are people are innocently under prison. Why are we not hearing all those stories?
Yeah.
Then the mom go prison. Isn't it the court and the law? Is she not the Supreme? You can't say the Supreme Court. And then you say the law no is in her bosom. If those people were imprisoned wrongly, then it means that the law no yet at a point. So if those people are in prison wrongly, and then at those days, she didn't see said the law. No, there's a problem with the law.
There was that.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, matter what. I tell you the mechanic. He was so many years.
Just about 3 weeks ago, I saw a documentary of an ex-convict as we call. Then in the phone so. Also otu kwan, also fi Kumasi hon mu baby. Ne bas ne ba bisi ahimrachi e wa Accra. Enti ahimrachi nim no baby osi ye no ana otena ase se auto cook omo to eduane se dem so oduo se 5 or se 4 or se something auto eduane. That very moment no police for yesu ani e cheche nkrofo ye che ne ka ho. Yesi ose ono na oka. Okoda in Samum for over 3 years. When you be anka na asema man okodi 3 years wom anopie ye. Human.
So what's the role of the Chief Justice in this? I don't
know. Human. What's the role of the Chief Justice? If the Chief Justice, the law, the courts near the end, is she not the one supervising it? And you're not Domano. Periodically, is she not supposed to be checking what is happening in the various courts?
To say his things.
Tell me she doesn't do. She's not supposed to do. If she's not supposed to do that, and then what is her role as a Chief Justice? So when I supervisor, I will feel how to say. On our share the course na umpo de unya time every day na periodically untumi check and 2 o'clock show when a buy then it happen here and 3 o'clock show when a buy then you can't even take randomly to check her. Then what is your role? What is your use? I don't see you are here telling us say in Brano you've seen say in Brano there's a problem with it.
Right.
Over this past years I did the same in Brano Diomono. I didn't know human being.
What me nipa say na injustice our system no media me ba ku bia me hu ye me report and say
we shouldn't play with this.
Mama to the woods. Ona oye we the mechanic ya ona wabam. Abrantie makasa semi da mesanka nika wona osunyan na nika wona wo bechem enti okoko nika wona ho anon of 95 bechem eba bechem kwanta enti obafa ka bechem kwanta na okosunyan enti gina na pick up bi bae nipa 4 na 19 2 in uniform 2 in mufti endo ba ko pointing say oka ho bi.
That's right.
Ohane ye che no o say ana papa ba wo kan say wo ka ambo be se na be fa Jamie ka film so say okay, one some didn't do one some papa life imprisonment.
Can you imagine?
Into double 13 years.
Can you imagine?
And see, can be a father te and the dear some next year na dana mama ruling no former chief justice to the woods. But me never for be a fool sad that one. Me who be that. It's about any does prison 30 years na onye she.
The Rawood born near woman is saying that.
Okay, hold
I'll explain to you.
One say or can be say when na woda no.
So ultimate responsibility.
Of course.
So what are you saying?
It's a bit senior under your jurisdiction.
It is a bit senior.
If you are including ultimate responsibility, fine.
Okay. And so I don't know.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Just one sentence. Yes. Are you telling me, say, Asama Okaye, Asama Mekaye, me assure say Yenina Ubia has had a similar situation.
Yeah.
Are you telling me, say, Chief Justice, until any of this thing that for her to even say, as a Chief Justice, no, I mean, and set up some
committee be to do inquiries into most of the cases are happen under you can say in the various courts so that we will see how best you be to answer Sanyema
okay you can be am wo ho asem
no problem
lawyer nkasa
kokokre ni bi no one door ni kokko do ma hinkura no ba kuma so lo to ovan ando ba so ovan si ono wa to ovan no
stealing car
and now the oye adwo na o be check kan stealing car oh o mi minimum ho hwe papa ne koda remand 6 years o sunya ne present 6 solid years Roman for ebre ne brano na moko ekokoye o ma prisoners no adoye that na be kan obi ne ekoye 6 solid years not that reminder ono papa krasi ni akoto ni koku sika akoto ni over enti no there's so much fun fun enti ye for 2 minutes bi en fa wrap up enti ma so free so say o so oba bi ko
this issue no kra woman say asema me nua kan yi aye no kra trodo say judgment bi a be free court abia no aye chief justice na masa judgment no
aditi so you not so
sa ono tie me
michi
ono ana hwe adwuma ni nyina so oye adwuma ni ti eni se tin to bia ba na obo ne so bo a eye yie sa wo fa amambu a president nyobi a ono na hwe bibia oye bibia o die ofori ataye nyina ni asie okufo ado amambu a nye yie mebo a and this chief justice awuna ohwa judge fo nyina so na judge ni bi kobua asem no wambia ne yie mpu a ye boss bo ma ne yie
say some could be crime say chief justice is ni stamp na mu di team so na lawyer nya
the rate no na
intin say on ka say ono na ye directly on the dia asem no directly o but the sense ono na hwesu nti so ka say ono a na nti ase no if resource penalty fie na sankolari na nka no anka o ka na nka we for no so that's it now listen 2 minutes just 1 minute and this I'm taking politics out of it see a person you cure all these things let allow for example IGP should rise through the rank to become an IGP so politicians IGP in a way he will become a vigilante, a chief vigilante of the president.
That's true.
So chief justice rise through the rank be a chief justice with a secured tenure of service we will cure all these things.
I agree.
When we decouple the chief justice, the attorney general from minister of justice, then the attorney general rises through the rank, become the qualified, well put together attorney general, will be serving our society well. But until then, I suggest humbly, say, Sawuba as president, now we appoint chief justice, who kwa forward yeko.
And the best possible, sir.
Hold on. You see, I believe in reality. I believe in reality.
You are basing argument on the precedents you are setting.
Listen, I believe in reality. Acquire your fast with the Charlotte was saying no. It was a very horrible precedent nobody want to entertain.
Exactly.
I agree.
Acquire your fast with the Charlotte was saying no. Absolutely horrible situation. Nobody want to entertain. See, under no circumstances was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama sleep well from the hands of the NDC and the lovers of the NDC and just Charlotte Osei. If Mahama decide not to do anything,
You're right.
If we want to be sincere with this country, we need to change our laws.
Constitution.
The law can always not be the law when the law that is the law is not correct.
That's right.
That's right. Possible say Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Mampena na do crash ebo say obo obechim no bi ade no ho but want you special prosecutor mo no sand be kan until the politician no be kan na mo ne ye no And then answer no penny Sunday can couldn't yonko yaw.
A few corrections. They did make every judge is independent.
Okay.
The Chief Justice may empanel in certain matters.
Okay.
But Oko Court to be in Susuyeno, near at least the expectation is Temwa for no tear no. Their decisions are independent.
Okay.
So making decision be now Susu say Tomra, you go on appeal or you go for a supervisory jurisdiction. Say a lower court or a high court. Na high court will who to me say bebo na sem na to agu. Say a high court and about Supreme Court. And Supreme Court will give a decision. But at no point in time is there a suggestion that Chief Justice influences decisions of court. And I think that is very important. I cannot be here without making that point.
No, we are not saying nobody said that.
Please let me make my point.
We are not saying that. We are saying that we are saying that he is the head of the judiciary. Being a supervisor doesn't mean say.
You please let me.
Doesn't mean say you are the core decision maker. Nobody is saying that he influences decisions. Anyone influences? Nobody is saying he influences decisions. No.
So the first thing they can make and say every judge is independent.
Oh, a lawyer for no. They
the administration of justice itself. For Supreme Court judges, almost everybody agrees that there needs to be some transformation in the judicial system. The nature by which one of the things Obia Oye lawyer behind about current Justice Tokono, she was the chair of the E-Justice Committee, right? And one of her foremost work was judiciary and how do we make judiciary more effective? Case be content, complaining those things. So the point I'm making is that even the judiciary, changes in the judiciary are left to committees and are left to the Judicial Council. Yes, the Chief Justice may be the administrative head, but there are constitutional requirements, there are other provisions of laws that allows for, except of course, the supervisory jurisdiction is Obiaye decision, what petition, and I say you've gone for that jurisdiction of the court, different from, say, the administrative authority of the court to in the way that was suggested. I don't think that is what the law is. I think that in some way can be I want us to depersonalize it. Say you need pursuing film and then speak on the principles. What media opinion can say where president Obama do IGP no Chief Justice about now the Marco. But it becomes a state said you have an executive president Obia Shanase it would be a defeating the state
because that is what it's looking like.
But you see, that is why any question, yes sir, and I agree with you, sir. Constitutional review Sebio Yera Mahama enjoy this term with the numbers he has in parliament. The non-entrenched part should be amended, not the entrenched part. Yenya referendum, because constitution, there are a big part of it, including 146. Mimi Suzu say 146 should change because any can say yeah full. Say you Chief Justice, but a man say they sit here there. Sign the cases.
SML. Exactly. 30 minutes.
But
yes. Oh, now for Juma for Prakasia.
Sorry. SML, no. Strategic Mobilization Limited, right? And Omujuma bi omedi no. Emranim for anyone here Emrasho Monsa special prosecutor. Efili say e woman ye bribi yie. Ento ye hwehwemu once embraso no nam ade ye hwehwemu no I side with him, but you see the special prosecutor I keep saying he himself is writing a very beautiful CV on himself. One day he may read it to himself.
Beautiful.
Yes.
He
should be careful
Ade.
not to play to the gallery.
Dainty. What kind of sana place will be in a shade?
Your money be now all year. I said, dear, well, yeah, me who say, oh, yeah.
No, yet.
Now, so
Sama patch.
until you're careful because we're watching him with eagle eyes. So, your investigation, year. Uncle Yen said, "A BBL frog." I said, "Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? Appoint him? No, I ain't biara. I'm only cautioning. I'm not saying there's anything like that, but he should be careful because we are watching him with eagle eye. Because in somewhere, Oforiata declaration of fugitive declaration, no crime. In someone, drama no dorsal. You can only declare somebody a fugitive. So, who the panel?
No, who?
No, I said that the katakasa so send me who me declare no fugitive. Said the beya ba katakata new man so now nim baby ani panity. It's something we all have to be careful about. We are watching him with eagle eye. We shouldn't be doing.
What did you do ni mu ana?
Me person me nya gidie woni mu. Enti onya na dwuma yie na me gidie a me wo woni mu no aye kase. Eno ana meka.
When are you crusader? Ever anti-corruption. Sa SML ni semi start ye nyina. Me kai fie ha kwa be afine fa kon fie mienu ntam ni. Me if you so kwa me dey ye no fatu am ye ni say e bia we ye pipe. E na ma connect wa ha. E na we susi ya. Enti nso ni fie na e kwa ha. Enti me di meter abo ha. Me na be di meter na bo ha. Na ba nso dodo a e free special ice mu bottle yi mu e Coca-Cola no mu. Ana me mia mi di meter na gba na makofo obi so obi fa meter na gba no ha na de ewura ha no ono calculate ama me me what meter na wo so ha me ba asam na me ka say enti me say
that is not
me ba enti say ko bo ha sa meter na me de bo ametumi sa fa de say meter na ko bo ha ama me mu akonta ne hu de free abeduru ane de te so te ne na sefo na je say mbo nipa fofo be ya na asama na me bisa no ena didi mu ama na beduru ba ya duro ya me kai na nsen ya esama le fo start call media houses ko kasa mo ba fie akra be kasa say o ma boa ma revenue hiri ko so ne ne ama but don be no so no still na no ensemu da so ho a ya tun sa free bi no ma no mpo ya chechecheche former GR mpanyfo a osofo a mishada no nyina ka woni owura kranse no ni mpanyfo ahodo owura so ti no nyina ya checheche listen
yes
sa semu no wona mota sa edi sa semu ya chi edi apa na wo muti edu ba bi eduri me hwe ye wo 26 minutes me ma wo nkwa mo 7 minutes
that's it.
Sure, I can't say the time can see
Look, this issue of SML, and I'll make BB about the BB Avondi ADC, but me do honomo. But you see, this issue of SML, when you bet to Jano, a reason to me has to do with conflict of interest, and that was the key thing I picked out of it all. You see, especially this part of the world, you know, one of the things are affecting us so much, and it so much, issues of corruption has to do with conflict of interest. So, particularly use our position in a certain way, make a position at this time, make a public office position at point and yes a private organization but public office position. Now we use our position, you know, for your personal gain and our personal interest. In Tibia, using it for wo as a person, and now using it for ubia or link or yet directed to you in a certain way. No? It becomes so dangerous. Now, me who say in Penny for what's the name? Is it Amishadai?
Yes, Mr. Krensel and Mr.
How many million penny for under Judiciary?
Amishadai
the head and
so the people, Ivan Sadusi, Chief Executive Officer, Philip Mensah, Deputy Commissioner Legal, and now the legal consultant for SML, Kofinti, former Commissioner General of Judiciary, and Joseph Kuruk and Faustina Ajoko, both officials of public procurement authority.
Into Umu say most of them no cry na omuye juma with GRE.
Yeah.
Found themselves into the SML. Clearly a raising issue of conflict of interest. Me share nim say yebeye investigation. Na yemfa nko the appropriate courts. Ni enko share what needs to be done there. I mean this I suggested strongly said there is some corruption and corruption related matters in this. Me share him say you better make sure say you better the right investigation action. But you see, there's one thing about this SML as I make Candibia, and at least this particular case, HRC maker. Say yeah issues now. You're very quick to talk about issues now. You're very quick to talk about. Say why in a year the directors of it, directors of it. But you see, the fact that you're a director of it doesn't necessarily mean say you are the owner of the company. Me beside the beer and it's a challenge matter this particular week. Say omo investigate this matter. You find it out. You go beyond just the directors. You find it out say why you the owner of SML. And your question obia into me here answer. Me from where I sit with the little information I have.
You'll be there.
Not much. Little information.
You'll be there.
That's a company there, the baby, you'll be there.
And on Paconoso and Kawamayachu,
Baby. The American is say, Yanko beyond just Omayachi one. Because Eja Odim said to the big fish, they say the Omampini Mahama Ekanye some time ago regarding this galamsey in Sebi. Oh, can say, I told you most of the time, you know, a year, boys are a warfield nesono, omuni a quachi one. Now, Ushemwa, Oma Yachi Omonia Dien, Oma Yachi Omonia Dien. Most of the times, you know, these are individuals who be somewhere, they don't have money to buy these excavators in Yadi. And then okay say you per se fight galamsey. Okay, you are just going to catch this and now arrest this light fishes, you know.
na kese
shechi omo mutumi to excavators no omo hono omo yachi omo no they are just the workers meboa yachi worker the main source ni they were hono ochina it will spring up again. And that is why I am drumming and I keep saying say who is or which people are the owners of SML. Eja see to me find it out this investigation will be very, very, very interesting. And very, very interesting.
I see.
But now moving on to the issue of special prosecutor. You see, I personally wished Senka this SML case, it wouldn't have been handled by special prosecutor.
Sir.
No. Because you see, special prosecutor name, Ocean background, so far in history, has not convinced some of us so much. Say the office or him as a person, he's really able to help us fight corruption.
Why?
Look, how many cases ana OSP, Ensha CSA or investigation, ana ODHA? How many of these cases are you to me a winnie and I get to the logical conclusion? You beat me a say abuayen am I fighting corruption in this country?
Someone about can say justice at training or a bounce a
I agree. And then they are quite about how many years near Oshasi. My typical example, just this week here. Okay, is it jabbing and I jab also MCE Casey? It's jab also, I guess. Jabbing. MCE Casey as a T for Mumumbi Refia. Now, MC 2021, Embra His Excellency Ekufuado, appointed MCs.
No, Chichesika. Also, my man from Sikama. Yes, see.
No. The video is there. Where who video ni bi?
Let me see as what Chiska.
No, where who video ni bi?
Or no so Jenisika.
Maybe that's where who video ni bi.
Ranchanka, where then Akasoji. Oche.
Good, because they are Obisa Waka say, yes, saying, I don't have anyone. Because the videos were there. But I see clearly speaking, when you want to establish how do you call it? Corruption, because corruption is an example of crime. It's in our 1960 code name. It's a crime. You establish two elements. The kind of the action and the intention. Intention, because sometimes it's so difficult to do. No, that is why as on mine you decided say you best set up institutions. Now you more the necessary equipment. It is a baby to say CID office, special prosecutor office, equipment are okita, and now resources are when you dispose of. Oba baby to say Crusaders Against Corruption, we don't have that kind of resources.
Yeah.
It is sometimes no, ejuma yen says you who any evidence you submit it emma these authorities. Near catch say when in yama yehu, to say jabbing. MC Yasemi, you who videos, you who say what can say, Mon to mami, I'm family can mami. Yes, suggest to say there may be some purported corruption and corruption related in it. Into why your institution, state institution, your investigation. The reason why your investigation to a large extent is to establish the intention.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And yet then, and a special prosecutor, it looks like consistently fails to establish intention of cases or then so. And into the assembly quarter, almost all the time, of failing to give enough evidence, and the case is thrown out. Grabbing case, when you say you
Yeah.
Adia Bechiama, you be special prosecutor, yes, why press conference, again going to public court of opinion. And that has also been his modus operandi. Almost every now and then. He's good.
Until you said in some of you, sir, you reckon for that day, SMLDA, and then the Eka Kahono, you be paid to me more about Sana Patch.
You see, and then Antina Mikasi, they me yani say, special prosecutor is the one handling this case. And I'm saying it based on the history. Say the history so far has not convinced Yemubi. Say at the end of the day, bet me a thorough invest. Meaning say whether it is out of incompetence and now a deliberate. I don't know. But for you to consistently fail in establishing the intention, for us to be able to get, successful cases that you bet to me are fighting corruption, and you're very worrying. Especially when every now and then we are paying you with our taxes. Now you try okay every now ejumemu hakra muwi. Say they be you try mukana at the end of the month your expected results you are not achieving it. I mean, sure say the owner will be a bit worried.
Sure.
And that's exactly what is happening with the taxpayer, which includes me. So we are getting worried because it looks like Adie Bia special prosecutor then in Sabeka and now almost majority of Niema or then in Sabeke Bian, he's not able to get us the result. And he fails by doing that. Now, Wabanu Ababekaji say, or the Assembly quarter, now quarter Buegu, and you can say, me, I'm not going to sit here and behave like Tokonu and say, court, no, we need GD woman. To a large extent, we may have GD in there, but the court will only adjudicate based on evidence how they back our command.
Me that's it. Yeah. Nanke baba next for some so. You bet me akabi kakrebi ansani sorry. But ultimatum am dey ma by na on press conference am dey buy. You back count. Yeah. Say say ba baka bi kakra na adade so ba mu na fi ya connect for dey so ni sorry.
Eja esa ya adwuma me enti de bia me ka say we a lawyer in Pembebre no who share cases bebre. You come to a point ujitum say sebio nyanya ma sebia na etoda ye no kre ubetimi ahu bibi pa dey we say cook but uto boase now ye hwehwemu now u pense ma
bo sebia
nyeko
and
because of
anyway it's so below
that understanding menya inti lately I'm very, very cautious to make categorical statements because one unimfa the unim yefa inti unim ninyina say unim ninyina inti sebio particularly when you're making deterministic statements and no worry ye kakra didn't na make us emrano criminal or burden say me aja only obi anya asem na obefa me emienu ne ekobo yenkro na judge no ahwe de the evidence eso chain ne de ono na edi nkonim ba criminal court enye sa nipa kro na ya bo no kwadu no eni kwan so ka emra kra mama na ho kwan so opa on ka hwe to me no anasa asudie no wo so se prosecutor so beba bebo no kwadu na kwadu a de bebo no answer na de ne be kwato afiase na ebebu anofo no e wo se nia wo de abanyina emro entiasie bia so reasonable doubt say e bia de oyi no ho ano a eto asomu bia no ya yefim ema de waye no asechire ba akopese odifo answer na emra bunufo empe bebre Nipa Bebre and Yeraki Jabe is known for teaching criminal law for many years, right? In Bebre, Nipa Bebre, I can say the criminal jurisprudence and I say criminal law, emrana share sa at criminals, the criminal law, no.
About the first
About no more din kakra chain sabi ya jitam say there be several cases na criminal no yenta nko no. The reason is this, because prosecutor no adwuma no so obo kwadu a owo emra no kra hye ne kete say so who bibi a eboa wasema emra no hye ne say wo so ode tudwa
okay
etian ono prosecutor na adwuma o but emra no hye no because emra no hwehwe say ye di nipa ba ko a sebi odi bembe kwa akoto afiase san say ye di nipa ahanu ana nipa du a odifo ebe nante abonte inti mrano is designed to protect the innocent yegina ajitum say eni aka wa say amount for that remand 3 years 4 years yenka o masem people may have ended up in jail anye bia yesu say omo ye innocent and things like that the entire make all of this around they say SML the nim there assembly peja no ho kitikiti last year no mekai say mampanyini Akufo-Addo was it KPMG and Deloitte,
yeah,
one of the
KPMG yeah
did an audit of the process. Again, we don't know. I don't know
outcome of it.
I don't know the outcome of it.
The kaba could be a buy and some penny can say one suspend it.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
The omoye onshore the omoye na yine de omuma omuntwaso. The omo suspend offshore.
Yes.
Okay.
But you see the obia ante asiemu no sebi mpanyifo amo GRA eba ne se na motem ho akwati adwuma ebeji GRA contract. Ebi out anjia enye wo de bad question ne say mra be nitia e just say wo tie mra bi so ko azo be fia akote radio station mra bi ansi wo kwai. The question which is a very legitimate question is the question of conflict of interest. Say bio me adwuma wa ha na makoje adwuma foforo nipa kro de o hwehwe na tie adwuma na me wa ha in that sense may conflict it. But say obi ye adwuma wo GRA no who say bi a GRA here tumi ehia nimdie bi e bi aye bibi no sa nimdie na bibi a ese ne ho kwan so obete ne company abaji adwuma no. The significant matters at stake ne say adwuma be no ye the pricing of the contract no eye ne kwan so ana say adwuma na e de ma omo no ma ye say na ubisa na say yebu petrol afi ha akwa ha na say the meter to so na be ya dent na bia ye ha obi. If the technicalities of it does not warrant that contractor, then we are talking about real issues. But say I don't want us to jump into the conversation suggesting say bia boni BSc enkosi say there will be clear determination say boni BSc because you see empe bebre no ya na ensemba ye didimika so we don't dig in deeply to find what are the real issues. In the SML issues nankasa ye den issues ne ye den I don't know. That is why there's an investigation. It's a make a question. I hope, say whether it's OSP, whether it's Yoko, whatever the body, onto Obuasi, any investigations ni any ejinaye wa mramu, any adansidie supporting mramu, dia yakase boni potel waya no, because uko quarter susu dia ye di susu abu SML na nipa na watching no for no. Eso che say civil court.
Yeah.
In the sense ejinaye ni esunti. I was a real muno. Eda ho fine say bi wato mra bi na waye boni bi.
Okay.
Jeja ho na me di base.
Be that say Adade.
Yeah. Oma wa analysis no say me can say e bi ana one te de na e koso na si.
Okay.
Ye tu fa ho. Amanoni for MFDA na ye di tu fa ho. Enti fa ho na ye tu meters so ye kind barrel dodo a ye tu no de bia na ye kind no e bia o mine susu ye mu no obi ye ye mbukata de omutu no ye hunu ni nyina.
Okay.
Enti ye wo twuma wo ho de na enso ya kofa obi se hwe na ma ye hunu se fan wo na omutu no de ye hunu na ye hunu ana de omude ma ye no de omu ka se no na omu atu no e no ana omutu enti SML for omu adwuma no ne se ye be monitor na ya assure revenue
No, na kasa to be
yes I did.
Okay.
You establish a communication service tax for Ghana. You shall see no the same thing was happening. Telcos no and the bar buying ho be catch on say afi tax IJJ say no more to your mupe bi ama buying. Ko checking numbers no. I don't have all the actual numbers of head. But more you starting monitor telcos no. Any ejuma omo ye ni sika omo nya e huri be ye mo ho be ye nsia
so mu buye
na che say sika na krofo ka say no na ye nya ye a ye tua so tax no na ye say bukata bi ye be say nya bukata kra na obi enbie ni nyina so nche enti na ye kofa obi say bra na be hwe de omo ye so you connect to their notes and then you are able to monitor
na ye tue de paneka
na ye tue ni pa
na ya kasa ye tue ni
That's why the question.
Infidie a ye di ye adwuma no infidie no bi boarding pa
okay
nti Ghana na me de ti amete ade we ase no Guinea for de na ye ne ye
okay
ye Ghana for de no for some time any company bi ye adwuma na omo ye revenue assurance ma like 3 country Guinea, Ghana, Sierra Leone. Enti we no enfidie no de di kan bebre boarding pa enye ade a o man to minto na adwuma no eso hwe another matter. Say ufa private company na wa source unyuma bi mana ma accountability no cost ro chain and prepi no accountability no cost ro chain de yeni ankasa ye hwe so no nti say uma monitoring no free GR nko aho a me kan si sodua be me careful kakra na esin to eba baabi ti say odi aban adwuma eja obi me mani nsan obi a be untumi mfa UTV en compare TV ba ko bi a ye wo Agya Kwabena na e wo ho no ana meboa sa na tie enti ye pe third party no hwe niama we so a eboa as to how the procurement process is there OSPC or investigating no the procurement process
okay
said nipa na ye di adwuma no man no fa kwan papa so no nya adwuma no say obi so kan wa ha I think I heard my brother say I say corruption bi wo ba bi na ye hwehwe wo mo bill na chi no. Those are different issues and I don't know how difficult is it to investigate to lift the veil and see who is behind it. But say who who the Agya Kwabena no original veil na chi na so ugidi say some I be gina Agya Kwabena chi and that's a different matter and na lawyer can wan say no. Say Agya Kwabena mi ko hwe na Agya Kwabena na gina ho. Then so mi gidi say Agya Kwabena de ye nanim keke na hye ho na obi gina na chi. na wakɔ hwehwem eno no mmra no na ye be yusu me de ye de buga ya akɔchi obi memfa owura wuntumi no mu de yinye ho mfato enye mfato ho se ya akɔchi no ye de naba na ya baby san se we galamsi ana o si da bi ya si kofie. That's the problem I have. So you never get to the bottom.
Anti achichire na wo de wo mpe no.
Yanya achichire no. Adwene a wo de fra nipa no so ombra. OSP say OSP media makan so bomi tape bebre on the OSP a obeti say. But I ya de OSP no was what was said earlier. So you know in ka ye per say OSP no be ni prosecutions kurampo a nanka attorney general na adane or mine law em say no na owura Akufo-Addo promise in opposition nti OSP beba no na ya mu bebre wo ho nanka ya adwene no say de nanka e bani afa papa no bibi odi ne nsa beka bi
na de oye no onye within the laws o ma hihya ma no
you see
emra ma hihya ma so no de ye adwuma nti sankamra no e kire say hwehwemu wiwi adane ma attorney general akoba ni sa but the man de ma say all prosecutorial powers so bit my prosecute nti
no say onye hwehwemu oye hwehwemu ni wia hwehwemu no so ya kire niama on hwehwemu ye owia ode no de sa de na hwehwemu ya be on fambo nipa no kwadu ana enye sa
so prosecution na no
ode aba kwadu de make an say ni hwehwemu biara obepeja bia asemo
Entira bra special prosecutor me say
SML man need see ni say SML aye boni say omunya adwuma no eno no the current GRA boss no kra be kan say adwuma na omuye ye no ehutwa but the year investigators say aye kwan ben so no omu fire omudi nya contract eno warranty say yenko tutu mfidie no me say my monitoring that my revenue assurance that intimate ase pa that could be a watutu sa mfidie na enye adwuma no ana say niama mfamu no masa de benwura afa nchen no
bebri kwa
wonti ase
that's
why I have a problem again
okay me that's ya bra na so akase mamienu na bodu mienu na kase ya kan nurse for yi ene midwife for treat and one treating say omo ma ban no
kakrandi
na omo kakrandi kakra no mo ni no sisi ni ehwe ne say humanity ana say ene say ehwe first ana say
ehwe no omo asem omo adwuma no akomedia ye de omo ka security services ni ho a anka bo because security services no kra kɔ striker there we no call striker esi no o me nyame anim no kra na me kan me wo fa ase baako efri mu omo call na nsen yan strike no me anti baako ne back girl ne ba be ma yesi nkwala na di agro na akra na si na ni so brin na ni yem omo pagya no call first hospital ya moto obi ani omo drew private hospital na akra na efri nti omo strike ni a doctor for strike no within 3 days no nipa e bia omo hu be kan omo be free mu ne niama no doso nti na media me kan say
e fa monka
e dia pa media nanka me manya anka yenya ne sa they should be part of the omo from say essential services
so mo kan
essential services but the bra policy ni say on to mean cost strike bra asre ni so on to mean cost strike no
okay
esa no na make no say omo de nanka na aban no nso de na ye be ya niama we NTNCC oni omo wa kwhye wo mbo
no omo na hye oh say insem no I think said next for us no of course ye nyina sympathize said Ghana obi episka
yeah
aka ni sika
obi aye
adwuma sika na nso no but I think say ehun here say in this particular context you better the progress na say omo enter into conditions of service it was signed at the ministry level not approved by the Ministry of Finance and then some members automatically went to court. And then because of that, the conditions were not implemented. And based on that, the new government did not, for some reason, it did not get into the budget. Now, because it wasn't part of the budget, of course, it couldn't be paid. Yet a deputy finance minister quoting amount which would be the impact on the budget. Say fiscal deficit until our mind because say we 2 cedis now sika 1 cedi now how any kobo be say 2 cedis ochna 1 cedi nuko awunya na wo dia inti yen na nim say the issues of Ghana and the financial issues of Ghana say be obi nka say next for nya sika dodo enye but I think that what we need to ask they say the conditions of service no whatever they represent. Can we understand say now per 1,000 cedis 1,000 cedis the value say on the current conditions are the values the same but maintain as any sadness for no because Ministry of Health at the time minister no assessor but all the directors are the same inti finance minister pay on finance as to whether or not say you omudibem and omundibem no I think say en common na was say di sebi adwumayeni open sika fi adwumayeni or no ni sika ni bia it's a difficult thing, but I also hear say bia nurse for aketia over time we haven't prioritized inti in so omu nyina adwane call UK ni nurse for we need to have a concrete conversation around nurse for nyina Dr. Funyina.
It was a campaign message.
Oh,
it was a serious campaign message.
See that the can say this problem is not Sebio abai for the problem. Of course, I'm not but a problem is evolved in the ranks of the nurses itself, the bargain of the last government, and then, of course, government is a continuum. Inti say government know as the employer know any would see you expect it takes effect, but one here so unisikana amemnefia na because of the powers the nurses have omo they have shields and I say say open sika nya menka says san or moka but one here because adwuma no hu here potia wa anya nipa bebrebe wunti and then no case up 500 no chna oba no case up 1,000 now the chair oba no case up 2,000 so I think say there needs to be proportionality on both sides.
We shouldn't discuss this as though the nurses are being too hard.
Okay,
you see the context here say abayfo from the buy or call workers or call labor or catch on say last year munya 20+%, this year no into
10%, yes.
And they agreed.
Yes.
So you buy na anyway no tna say because one more court no. Why no say we have the collective bargaining agreement. Or call court no or compare before. It doesn't stop.
But that's why you didn't. But your government didn't implement.
And America say that the processes of implementation were on course. And sana abai dada ni free. It there you buy ye any woman tna say there you catch labor. Almost 10% now, say even though they were expecting more. No? Let's engage them.
Oh, but
because
I think
if we're in there, say teacher near and go school. Hard doing so hard doing.
So I mean, let's force you new kasa ewo no and America wasem.
Open on both sides. Omo pray are suspended. Omo sign red yellow flag. Say yeah beba o na mo person yen me ne wa ye te ha no ye ka bi ma wo
ye ka de obi e ka bi ma mo na wo so nyi ni se wonyi no so say e ka me say ebi ba bi a because say ye wo so ye ho a na obi a ho enti no se pusia say ade ni ni wo kro ni say pusia ni ensa to me kan enti ye fo ne say wo ye ne say wie na nya sa ne ma ni nyina wie na se misu mitu mani so say when you say na mani nyina wie so there then you must serve me professionally.
I know they say
na se ko ba say bia na mo sa so na se bibi to me a misu bi no obi kan wonyi ni say ebema sa interest position na bia won be take no ebema we the citizens are yesika po na di ti o mo kan no ye benya adwum so o sa manya ska do manya wi
sa azi
wonyi ni say be ha adwum ka ka ti I say be to ni jojo na etimi
evidence you need more time
to
talk about
time
it. But just one or two questions maybe sir. Tambena agreement e shase
somewhere mid last year.
Mid last year. getting towards the elections. And the only thing I want to say is that politicians should be very careful. The kind of decisions and agreements that they get into, particularly when they are being influenced by, so that I'll get some political gains. You're very, very careful of it. But as I said, I would have really gone into details and given a number of things and the reason why the agreement even took place around that time and all that. But what we should know is that baby I do say they hear the word reasonability.
Yeah, that's the point.
Exactly.
Obianka said they actually
to a very large extent.
It's not.
I agree with the Okanye and I don't want to repeat it. But as I said, Senka, you go deep. I would have given reasons why that agreement in the cry and at the time and the reason why sir, at the current ministry level, no, agree, but I didn't get to finance. I would have gone into details for us to know. Say sometimes, I may summarize it. Sometimes politicians should be very careful. The kind of things, the reasons behind some decisions they get themselves involved in. And yes, it will end up becoming an albatross. So we engage in a certain decision just because we think, say, a bit more political gain and a bit create a good perception of our. Ninsun Swansono, a nubini, and a babetum.
So, mainstream form penny for say, Sebio, negotiations are dialogues. We appreciate that they suspended it, but nobody here is suggesting say Sebi. Let's may start me say Obiasika and so no. Let's need pesika biaka. There's nothing wrong with it. The mechanism say we shouldn't Sebio may insist in a way say it defeats dialogue. It defeats dialogue in the sense one Meko strike because the importance of that profession. It's so important
to save life.
To say
not to destroy life.
I say you be say two one mamisika member for
both sides should be reasonable.
Of course.
Okay, I say just last Monday came we. One of the group says teachers who said then omko pekete one director, yes, a deputy director general, woman, Professor Wine, Miti in a voice, Obaya Onu Kasa. And when the people were agitating, she went on to say, look, I can't be standing in this scorchy sun and addressing your issues. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Say, I wish I would have gone into this, but I can say reasonability should play from both the government side and the
absolutely.
Madam Asipapa, any moment, Madam Asipa, that day, Madam say, Yasopa me dance, we say me dance, Bondi unso uni hanso me dance. And then Rosemary Saki, do not for Amanya Kwa Abronoma, when I branch manager, enterprise insurance, wo a doom, only a doom branch. Manager nti abrono man pay when you feel you 50 years ya mountain kwa emu entin kwa once again JB of Monami Social Club and rana ye wonso wo dia nti JB na ye de na so ye beto aso oba cha no nwene hu so de enra ye no na so ye beto aso ye so near the Sedama special eyes need this way in this fufu so musu yasem ye de dwumadi e production team enso be do ma se papa na mo ye sorry so kakra bi na mebeka next week e be show bibia ma matumi ahwe say o me ye kwa enim na se yesan ye chi ya ye bibi kitu bi afa niam bi ho enti yakopon ya do da se ne ye be show ama ahwe say as a country o ma ye se na the gateway to Africa no esefatan yana ye wa ya do da se ne be hia akra mo nyina ma mo nyina mbo ene hwe